Because you're magic people to me. You're magic people to me. Hold your head up high, let your voices fly. I'm proud to be Māori.
E te iwi no mai hoki mai. No mai hoki mai to planting seeds, and very happy, man, to be here with one of my longtime brothers. We've been through so many highs, so many lows together, and for a lot of people, they may be seeing the tip of the iceberg, but today we're going to be exploring some whakaaro around the art of curiosity, around the untold story of the brother Rawiri Nelson. But before we get into this, man, I just want to do a big plug for this beautiful product, HOM, House of Movement. I've been jamming it. I actually just got it a couple of days ago, and I've been training a whole lot throughout this lockdown. Been going hard with this performance one. I've got the blue raspberry. It tastes epic. Get the little bit of the tingles. Get really sustainable energy throughout it. Focused, and there's no big hard crash. So I'm stoked there's with this. And then we've got over here is the focus one. And I've just started drinking this now, which is in this cup. And I'm really looking forward to see how much in tune I am as we go through this podcast. So big plug going out to HOM, House of Movement. You can check it out on Sports Fuel here in Rotorua. And it didn't take long. It took like 3 days, 2 to 3 days for it to arrive. Alternatively, check them out on Instagram and also on the website. My brother.
My bro.
My bro. Yeah.
Good to be on here, my brother.
Good. Tēnā koe, my bro. And just bring it come a bit closer to our mic. All right, my bro. And so, my brother, good to have you here, my bro.
Thank you, my brother.
You've been on a journey, eh, cuz?
Yeah, cuz. Yeah. What has it been like? We used to live together 8 years ago?
Yeah, bro. It would be around that time now.
7, 8 years ago when I think both of us have been non-stop. And honestly, it's been a bit of a milestone to actually be sitting here and having a bit of a yarn of you. Coming from Rotorua to do so. So before I head back to Ahitereiria, I just wanted to acknowledge my boy here. He's been with me from the start. And I guess when things were just ideas, been in my corner through it all. And cheer, cuz.
Cheer, my brother. Cheer. Bro, we have been through just so much, bro. You know, particularly that time in Australia, I was going through so many personal changes and shifts, and we went through just some beautiful memories, bro, you know, some hilarious moments, some challenging moments, but being able to go through those kinds of things together and to now get to this stage of our journey where things are unfolding. And I knew even back then, bro, we all knew like, man, something's going to happen. You know what I mean? We had that belief in each other, right?
Oh, 100%, bro. So it comes down to the action to reaction, brother. So, big shout out to my brother Trojan. I wish you were here because
Straight up.
I wanted you to come and have a bit of a cordial, but we'll start it. Yeah, I guess every action has a reaction, my boy, good or bad. As long as you're creating reactions for yourself, then there's a response. Positive, negative, the unknown to the known. You know what I mean? So as long as we keep walking out there, cuz, and we are giving something a go with some intention or some whakaaro behind it, we can actually predict where we're going to be and also have a bit of clarity on where we want to go. You know what I mean? So depending on what that is, some people might find it a bit harder than others figuring that out. But I guess what I wanted to touch base on today was how I got through the last 10 years of, I guess, challenges and intertwining that with the whakaaro of Māoritanga, being able to have that as a pillar to get me through anything. What I mean by that is I think it's important for me to come home and remind everyone that what we learnt when we were 5 years old, 4 years old, the identity side of it is actually the key to my progress. So I'm not going to say success yet because I'm not yet at my own version of success for myself, but I've had a lot of progress through the trenches, through mahi, through ideas, through whakaaro, through anything really, bro. So I guess that's what I want to come talk about, my man. And that
man. And I'm keen to get into all of that. And, you know, the thing that comes up, you know, when you sort of like start to speak about identity and, you know, me even just observing you, you've played a real pivotal part of my journey, right, brother? And I always talk about just how you've always been. You've always had this sharp mindset, you know. I remember one of the very first things that was just imprinted in my brain from you was that, you know, every day's Monday, you know, and every day's Monday. And when you had that kind of mindset doing the mahi that we were doing, you know, we were still fixers, we were just grinding, you know, there were times where I would have work, you wouldn't, Troj would, you know, we were just going through all these different things. And even in the circumstances that we were living in, and you had that mindset of like, bro, every day's Monday, you just got to get after it, and you're a very hard worker. And for you now to transition, you know, through that, and for you to still hold that kind of mentality, you know, what brings that out for you, brother?
Bro, like, so when I explain things at times too, when I meet people, the way I try to do it is have your understanding of what I'm saying, sort of thing. So the whakaaro behind that is, I'm never going to tell you what to do, I'm going to try and remind you how good you are. So it honestly comes down to something funny, right? So it's like Monday is like a word that describes a day. The sun goes up and down, we call it another day. At the end of the day, it's my relationship with that word, with that day, and what I have to do to kind of progress, sort of thing. You know what I mean? So that was just me, by me challenging how I felt about a day, about mahi, about Monday, about anything. I just had to make my mind up on what I thought it was and how it was perceived to me, and my relationship with that word. So once I got over that, once I had my own understanding of what I thought Monday was, every day was Monday. And what come with it, the good and the bad, the ugly and the sad. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, at the start of the day, actually, I had to go to mahi. And there's a kōrero before that actually made me appreciate mahi based on the same whakaaro behind my relationship with mahi, my action in mahi and what I wanted in return for mahi. When I had that kōrero to myself, then I intertwined that with my whakaaro with Monday to result in productivity and work ethic. You know, because, bro, when you wake up, you know, even on a Sunday, it starts on Sunday, you're like, fuck, mahi on Monday. You know, you're already on that backward step, but you created that relationship with, like, bro, this is it. Yeah,
you know, and you're saying that
Mondays,
you're saying that on Friday, like, bro, it's Monday. You know, but it did create that humor. But you're just like exceptional with how you've been able to translate that through everything, bro. And you know, there have been some, you know, sort of like moments, you know, throughout your journey, right? And, you know, just want to give you a bit of time, bro, just to speak about, you know, some of the things that unfolded, you know, because you can talk about all of the great things that are happening, but we both know that, you know, there are some things that have unfolded in the background, but you've still maintained this level of authenticity throughout that. And like, do you want to speak a bit about that, bro? And if you want, you know, about what unfolded or what happened.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. So I think it always comes back to that whakaaro of what's my relationship with what I believe. I've had many metamorphoses throughout my life that kind of reassure things for myself. So when I mean by reassure, a lot of people out there do know things, but they have to be reassured to kind of make sure that that's actually the right decision or that's how they feel.
Right.
So when I went through moments of reassuring myself on circumstances, decisions, or things to do, this is the right thing to do, or this is what I want to do, once I reassure myself based on another whakaaro that I'll talk about, then we'll start. I started going harder, you know what I mean, based on just what I wanted to do. So going back to it, I think when my koro passed away, and this is, I get asked the question a lot about how I'm able to kind of, the mindset behind negativity and why I don't, you know, it doesn't affect me. So how I deal with that, right? And it comes down to perception of other people. It comes down to perception of parihimana in the airport that pull me across to sit in a room to interrogate me based on their belief in what they think I am. You know what I mean? And it's very hard, heavy on the shoulders to always, you know, to actually deal with that. But once I talk about how I get through that, I'm sure other people can actually take that on board and help any situation.
Yeah, right.
Doesn't matter what it is, all right? So back when my koro passed away, before he passed away, I had a yarn to him, and the kōrero was, koro, tell me something before, this is our last kōrero, tell me something, anything, and he just told me, if you believe in something, stand for it, even if you're the only one standing. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is, I understood his whakaaro with me. I understood what he knew I was. I understood what he wanted me to be. He understood what I wanted to do. Now, if I take that whakaaro, put it over here, right, and then I was to walk through the airport, someone pull me aside and interrogate me based on what they think they know, and I believe it and I'm offended by it, then I'm taking that mana away from my koro.
Yeah.
Know what I mean? So any circumstances, bro, I know what I'm trying to achieve, and I'm going to behave based on what he thinks I am.
Wow.
Right? Intertwine that with some more whakaaro behind identity that comes with Māoritanga naturally, which is the key. Then you have a machine, bro. You know what I mean? Up here, you're unstoppable, and you can do anything.
And do you feel it is, there is a lot of focus within your mindset? Like, have you focused more on, has that been your predominant focus, bro? Is just getting your hinengaro sort of like in that space of focus, of clarity? Is that your main driver for you, bro?
I think, let's just say, what's the difference between velocity and speed? Velocity is pinpoint, right? So it's more focusing on what you know is going to happen or what you're trying to achieve. Speed is just fast. You can go the wrong direction fast, you know what I mean? So jumping ahead a bit, like, I think this way now because I went through what I went through. And I've taken more L's than wins. I've probably taken 2 wins. I've taken 1,000 L's. But that same mentality got me through all those L's. I don't actually fail. I've lost, but I haven't failed because I haven't given up.
Yeah. That's your only differentiating factor, eh, bro? I remember you telling me that. It's like, bro, you just don't know. Is it not in you, bro, giving up?
I just don't see the point.
Yeah.
Know what I mean? It's like you can kind of predict what happens after you give up. You go to the shop and get fish and chips and chill, keep the bite. But I've got so much clarity around what I'm trying to achieve. Even if I fail at this, I'm still going that way.
Right.
It's like the whakaaro behind building the bus while you drive it. Like, I've got that much belief into what I do, where I'm pushing this wheel, bro. You know what I mean? I'm pushing a wheel and everyone's going, what are you doing? I was like, I'm driving the bus. I think it's a bus. You know what I mean? I'm building it while I'm driving it. But that's my belief. It's my belief on what I think's happening. And you can't change my mind. You know what I mean? And it's coming from a place of,
it's just true to you.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's just unique.
It's common sense, brother. Yeah, so.
And I feel one of your main strengths, bro, and I do want to speak to this, is, bro, we couldn't like see each other for years, but you'd always be a person who would just message out randomly, with a how are you, or how's things, or hey, bro. You'll always just be one to connect. And as I've been observant, over the years, you're just very, very incredible, bro. And it's a major strength of yours, your ability to connect with others and your ability to network. And do you want to speak about that, bro?
So there's the ability to network it's a common element in Māoritanga. So when we have our tangi, when we have a pōwhiri, it's about not managing people, but being welcoming and knowing how to make people comfortable. Personally, I just like people because the way I look at people is I see opportunity. If you're 29 years old, I see 29 years of history and opportunity that I could possibly have access to. And it's a privilege to have access to those opportunities. And with opportunity comes anything, really. You know what I mean? And we'll speak on that later. But coming back to it, I think I did go through a stage over the last 3 years, I believe. I was probably more under the radar as I was trying to build myself up, fill my own cup up to overfill to others. But I think it's just as basic as, bro, I love my people. You know what I mean? Like, it's when you're in my mind, then I'll reach out. And that's nothing there's nothing new. That's just the level of that's just normal. I believe anyway, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to explain what I think is normal.
Yeah. And for me, you know, we've had conversations around this as well about how effortless you make it seem. And then for me, like, you know, I've had conversations with you around, you know, there's so many like amazing people who have contributed to my life, but I struggle to reach out to them and just be like, hey, what's going on? Because of how much I know they have added value to my life.
Yeah, we spoke about this, right? So I think, I can just, it's hard to talk about, you know what I mean, bro? Because I'm just doing me.
It feels effortless for you.
Yeah, hard, because it is. And it's, Mauri ora, my bro. You know? I just say thank you. Tēnā koe.
Beautiful, my bro. And you're also like a major anchor within your whānau, right? You're just someone who, you're very much a po within your whānau, between your sisters, your mama and your papa. And do you take that responsibility, bro? Do you enjoy being that kind of person within your whānau?
Absolutely, bro. Like, so a bit of background with me whānau. Te ara wa te iwi, te ara wa te waka, tū haurangi te hapu. Te pākera te marae, roto kākahi te roto, tarawera te maunga, tamata kapu o te tangata, tia muri ora. I come from a small village called Whakarewarewa. It's a female dominant family that I am in, and I think I've had the same sort of, I wouldn't say problems, but just situations as many other Māori whānau face around alcohol and opportunity. So I'm very passionate about changing that. All right. So from my upbringing, I believe that a lot of things could have been done differently, but people only do based on what they know how to do. So it's not their fault. And I've taken everything's where it's meant to be. And I've taken 50 years of my mama, 50 years of my papa as a 17-year-old, and I traveled the world with it. So I was gifted that to create these other opportunities based on what they could have done, but what they gave to me to do. So it's a privilege, but also, yes, I took it on board because it was gifted to me. And the way I look at things being like, I'm stubborn with the whakaaro of what has to be done next. Now I take that on board because I don't want the lessons of my nephews and nieces to be what I went through.
Right.
So I take it on board to me be I'm the only, I think I'm the eldest male, and psychologically I took it on board to create this idea of I think success, or this idea of how I believe the opportunities within my whānau, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And taking that on board involves, you know, you kind of can just look at how things are in Rotorua at the moment. Like, you can see the opportunity in what is not happening.
Right.
And if I wasn't to do anything, what's going to happen, sort of thing. We can kind of see what's going to happen. Nothing. So I took it upon myself to
try and do something about it.
Absolutely. So
Beautiful.
That's a big whakaaro itself, bro. And, you know, I do get a bit tongue-twisted when I try to explain it. But
nah, that came out perfect, bro. And I think you have the broad enough shoulders to be able to carry that as well. And just even from seeing just online as well, just how much like you have brought into your nephews and nieces, and just how much they sort of do look up to you already, bro. So, you know, that in itself is just something incredible as well. So, brother, talk to me about growing up in Rotorua as Rawiri Nelson, bro. Like, I've heard stories, bro, so bring them out.
There's plenty of stories, but our people were storytellers. You know what I mean? The art of curiosity, and we'll touch base on that. The art of curiosity is you can actually impact people based on a story. You know what I mean? There's
100%.
There's Papa Tuanuku, and you could be like, need motivation, changing a car tire. You can pull that from any story that you believe in, sort of thing. You know what I mean? So I got really passionate about the story being told. Now, this story it's just like any other Māori. Like back then, I went to Rotorua Primary. I have two sisters. I have a mother. I have a father. And every school I went to, I was welcomed by the kaiako. as their child, you know what I mean? So I still have a connection with each and every single teacher to this day, and every time I come home I try and see every single kaiako, and I visit every school, just because it plays an important part to me and also to anyone that actually went to the school.
Right.
Rangatahi, rangarua, rangatoru, okay, to rangatira. So being able to be a part of that cycle, and whether it's just like going there to have a kōrero and implement ideas, contribute anything with whakaaro, just anything in general, is you're playing a part in helping that pōti get to where it needs to go. Now, going back from Rotorua Primary, went to Kaitao, then Rotorua Boys, I was heavily into kapaka. At an early stage, I was put into a lot of cultural things, kōrero Māori ngā wā katoa. Then heading into Boys High, I think I was actually pretty shy, bro. You know what I mean? So I was always in my head about how people perceive me, being skinny, very insecure about being skinny, being teased about just not, I think just
going through those things.
Yeah, just those things. You know what I mean? And then I think I used to play a lot of basketball, and I want to touch base on, I actually think I would have done really well in basketball, bro.
Yeah.
Like if it comes down to honestly how I felt about myself.
Is that right, bro?
Yeah, 100%, bro. And I think that's a lot.
So you had the skill, but just not that confidence wasn't there.
Yeah, if I had that everyday Monday whakaaro, you know what I mean? Because I remember playing basketball, man, and I used to be scared of doing something wrong in front of my dad or in front of my whānau and embarrassing myself. There, I wouldn't action anything at all.
Yeah, right.
Because I didn't action, there was no reaction to get into a proper team to provide an opportunity for me to go somewhere with it. So they kind of just sat there.
Right.
The only time I really did start excelling in something when I experienced some sort of like just something different, right, was when everyone knows Stylebender Izzy. He took me under his wing and we become dancers.
Yeah.
And just to be encouraged in a way where I could just dance and express myself in another world and be uplifted to then get on the stage, on a bigger stage, to provide more opportunity for myself, is when I started challenging the thought of, it's actually up to me to do well. It's up to no one else. So then I become stubborn. I got into the thought of, if I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and I practice for 4 hours by myself, by this battle tonight, I'm going to be ready for it. And that's up to me. If I walk to the bus and miss the bus, that's my fault. I slept in, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that was a massive part of my life. And also when I started...
And how long did you get into, and when you talk about dance, it was specifically krump at that time, right? And there's a lot of energy and there's a lot of everything that's going on within that realm of dancing, krump, and man, that's definitely mana enhancing in so many ways, bro. Like,
so that was like it was my vehicle, right? I think I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for that. You know what I mean? It might sound crazy, but it was an opportunity for me to learn a new way of just
letting go, unleashing, 100%. And just being present, right, when there is no extra thought or weight.
And also the idea behind another identity, you know what I mean? So I could behave a different way when I was this person.
And what was your krump name?
Yeah,
King Cookie.
Yeah, King Cookie. Black Magic was my big homie and Lil Magic was my name. So me and Izzy used to go around and I guess we used to dance in parks, bro, sleep in parks and do all the things, bro, you know what I mean? So it's like, And
you're sort of like, I remember just every time we were partying in Adelaide, man, and if there was a hat around, it's like, just throw it to the bro and just do something with it. Bro, those hat tricks were iwara, bro, like it was on.
Well, I knew the reaction, so I think that goes back to something I didn't talk about before, was my obsession with creating reactions, bro.
Yeah.
So I think I was utilizing krump as a vehicle. I knew what I was going to do because I've been practicing it for 4 hours, right?
Yeah.
And then I practiced this hat trick. And I knew this hat trick would have a reaction of making people lose their shit. Now, that's the sort of response I wanted.
Yeah.
Now, you'll practice like 2 weeks, bro, to get this reaction from people. And then that was the best feeling in the world. So when you're getting that sort of wairua from the people around you, you have a sense of belonging.
Yeah.
Know what I mean? And that's what I was that's what it was, bro. I had a belonging, and that's what it come down to. was whanaungatanga.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, but just in another world, in another
way.
Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful, bro. That's amazing. And I really do want to sort of follow that thread. And by the way, big shout out to the bro Stylebender. The bro's still killing it right now. He's still holding it right down in that scene.
Yeah.
So I just want to follow on that thread, bro. And I want to talk about, just the art of curiosity, brother.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just like a puppet master at being able to create things in a way that interests people without knowing what that actually is. And you've done it in different ways before, but what's your take on curiosity?
I think curiosity is important because of it comes back to how I felt about things. If I wasn't curious about something, then I wasn't asking the right questions to get the right response.
Yeah.
All right. But it also opens your mind up to learn more. So that was so important to me. Once I started being curious about more things and approaching things with an open mind, whether I believed in it or not, I started learning their reasons why they like things, or why do you like jazz music or country? Like I don't like country music.
Yeah.
But if I can understand your take and why you love it based on your whakaaro, and I understand that, then I'm open to a whole new world of people that like country music. Then I'll go to a country music festival, bro, and then I'll start meeting 1,000 people that actually like it, but then I'm tapping into their world.
Yeah.
Now, to be able to do that reverse, it's like people already have existing stigmas and perception around things, around you, around me. I understand what I look like. I understand what people believe, what I am. But if I can make people curious, whether you like it or not, then I'm in control of what you actually know.
Right.
At this stage. Because I'm planting seeds to grow trees, as you know, brother.
Yeah.
And it's like I suppose it's like a lot of people probably do think I put a lot out, but I'm actually putting nothing out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And as long as my waka is still moving, I'm pushing that tire across the road, bro, and it's creating momentum. As long as that's moving, bro, I'm kei te pai.
And that's I like how that is, bro. You don't need to show all the cards. You don't need to sort of like express everything, as long as you know within yourself. And I think that also comes down to confidence again. There's a lot of just confidence in what it is that you're doing to only provide bits and pieces, and there is a build-up, right? There's that build-up of momentum until something happens.
There is, and the confidence comes from different places, bro. And I've been blessed enough to have the people around me that have achieved certain things, and me to be able to reassure myself with what they've done. For example, an identity thing, right? So the confidence in who I am. I know what I am. I'm a Māori, and I know my whakapapa. I know my pepeha. Now, to simplify it, for you to understand it the way I do, like in a simple way, it's like, what is your name, my brother?
Rani Rawiri.
What if I told you it was Bob?
I'd be like, you're wrong.
Yeah, exactly, bro. To be that confident. You know what I mean? It's like identity.
Yeah.
I know exactly what I am and who I am. Anything else is just noise.
Right.
Then you intertwine that same whakaaro within goals. That's actually what I'm trying to achieve. It doesn't matter what you perceive what I'm trying to achieve. That's the way you feel.
Wow.
Welcome to the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you're going to perceive, I understand that perception. I know it's easy to laugh at a comedy show. Now, what I mean by that is, if people are going to laugh at your jokes anyway, what way do you want to take this show? You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
And so it's just like controlling the current. The current is the way people talk, the way they move, the pace of the town.
Yeah.
Monday to Sunday, what you do, what I do, what are you doing today? This is what, you know what I mean? It's just, if that's the current, things only move as what people believe and what they talk about.
Wow.
What if I told you actually had full control on what they talk about?
Yeah, well, for me, I wouldn't really know what to do with that. Whereas you have an idea of controlling, the narrative of that story, which is incredible.
Absolutely, bro. And it's it's kind of, I think a while ago, I started to break down what I had control over towards what I didn't have control over.
Right.
All right, so it's like there's a process towards anything. I use what I don't have control over as a buffer. That buffer is a timeline, and I cram it with things that I have control of.
Right.
Know what I mean? So I expect this person or this thing to behave the way it should. I'm never going to be offended. It's nothing new to me, but I expect to retaliate or behave this way based on what I want to happen. Or
Sure.
that's that's a big whakaaro. Does that make sense?
Yep. No, I'm with you, brother. I'm with you. And when you sort of, there's one thing that does come up for me when you sort of start to talk about, the current. And, it's something that you've mentioned to me a few times. And I just want to add another thing to it. It's currency, where there's only... People see currency as a form of pute or money, but you've been able to experience it in multiple different ways. And do you want to share your whakaaro on currency, brother?
Currency is not a word, it's a feeling. So the whakaaro behind people learn the same things at different parts of their life. Okay? Exactly that. Now, what I mean by that is people have different currencies based on what they have. What he has is going to take me a lifetime to earn, but what I know is going to take him a lifetime to learn.
Wow.
Right? So it comes back to how our kaumātua, our rangatira, our koro kuia taught us about the art of bartering. I went through a stage in my life where I was facing some situations where money couldn't resolve what was happening. So I had to create the idea of living a life with my currency. And what I done was I become a personal trainer, not to make money, but to decrease my expenses to survive. Everyone's got a problem. They want someone else to solve it for them. A man with money and a man of energy. A man with money needing aroha or energy, and a man of no money needing an opportunity. That makes sense.
It does.
So with currency comes in many ways. It was more finding the opportunity to what someone needs. What someone needed was the actual currency to what they needed at that time. Now, when I was a personal trainer, I knew I wasn't the best personal trainer. I knew that there was like 100 other athletes out there that can probably do things better. The point of parity. And I'll speak on the point of parity versus the point of difference. I understood my point of parity. What point of parity means is what you have in common with other PTs. Your point of parity being a podcast, what you have in common with other podcasts. Now, can I ask you a simple question of what you think that is? Well, what do you have in common with other podcasts?
I think the thing that I have in common with other podcasts is that we use mics, we talk to other people, and we share stories.
Beautiful. And what do you think the point of parity of me being a personal trainer and other personal trainers?
Is you have clients, you have a particular skill set that you're trying to offer and provide.
Beautiful. So the thing these days is what I always see, and it's kind of normal, bro, is people compete with the point of parity. This is the best information podcast. We've got the best mics. We got the guest is on here. This is, you know what I mean? If you're constantly competing with the point of parity of what you have in common, then you're never going to win.
Never. Yeah, right.
So I identify what I wasn't the best at, which is like burning fat for clients and science and all that sort of stuff. I was like, I knew how to kind of do it, but I knew I wasn't the best. What's my point of difference? My point of difference was I can say hello to as many people as possible and then start a mean chat, you know what I mean? So with that chat comes with their whakaaro feeling comfortable with me to share insecurities, etc. Based on their personality, I used to intertwine science with their goals, and that's how I become a personal trainer. Now, when going back to it for becoming a personal trainer, before that, I think the whakaaro of my personality, I wanted to challenge why I was in mining and construction and how I got there towards my role being there and having the next job lined up. It had nothing to do with my work ethic. It had everything to do with me being friends with the boss or the boss liking me. So I had this little moment to myself, right? And I'm going to get back to the PT side of things, but this is where it started. I was constantly in work because of my personality and the reaction from my actions. So this guy that everyone's probably not talking too good about, I'm talking good to him because I actually like him, you know what I mean? So he's like, all right, when I got my number, that I'm laid off, I had my next job lined up, strictly because of the art of networking. And also, so everyone knows how important that is. But once I've realized that I could do that with anything, I was like, why am I in construction? Why am I in mining? I can actually do this and get into any other sort of
field, profession, whatever.
100%. And back then, I didn't know what the hell it was. But I knew the only thing that I was unhappy about was me getting up and working for another man. And from that moment, I had a metamorphosis where I was like, I'm going to change my life and then walk towards, in my head, being the biggest network platform in the world. That's how crazy I sound, you know. So what I done was, if I could, and FYI, I always wanted to be in events and entertainment, just because of my network and also leveraging what I had and also what I can bring to the table. And I walked around Brisbane, bro, and I sat down with people and I said, let me help you bring celebrities, you know, to Australia. I can actually call these people up, get them into the rooms and get them to the parties or whatever. And everyone thought I was crazy. I was like, they didn't believe me. So I utilized personal training as a vehicle to not make money, but to decrease my expenses to expose me to opportunity. So if I wanted to be a part of the night scene, I will train someone that owned a nightclub. If I needed a car, I trained someone that owned a car yard. If I needed food, I trained someone that owned a restaurant. A baker would rather give you a loaf of bread than $10 to pay for bread. Why? Because he's got a bread machine. If I intertwine personal training and the way he felt about himself, the currency being training with what he had to do or what he was doing, then that was an easy exchange. And I kind of had that as a baseline to then build on top of that.
And I think that's freaking incredible, bro. Just the exchangement of services, really. But you had that intentional sort of whakaaro around where you were, but where you saw you could go and where you could be. And the pieces just started to be placed in front of you. And last year, bro, was a pretty significant year for you, you know, and the bro who's in the room at the moment, Kane, and a few other people, where 2020 was crazy already, right? And I was just talking off camera with the bro Kane, and it felt like 5 years in that 1 year for the amount of things that you personally went through, but also what was created through that. And I know this flows on from the whole personal training. So continue to sort of follow that thread, bro, and what some of the things that happened in 2020, bro.
Yeah, that was a crazy year. To me, like the way I was looking at it, bro, like I was just like, I was born in a pandemic, you know what I mean? So it was like nothing, like it was just, every day was Monday, the same thing. It was like I had no control over what the world was doing. The thing was, I think I got ahead because the world stopped. I just kept going, you know what I mean? So it's like, I had this saying, if you can do it at 1 o'clock in the morning, do it at 1 o'clock in the morning. Make the most of the city being alive. Plant your seeds, grow your trees, haradu, say hello to people. When everyone goes to sleep, do your admin. And I got obsessed about that productivity thing. So one of the things that I want to touch base on is how I was able to secure shares in a moped business. All right. So the reaction I wanted was I wanted people to come to me because I was plugged into different things. That was the response. When I break down anything I do, I can't tell people what to do. You know what I mean? But I can create enough curiosity around people coming to me going, Ra, what do you do? Or Ra, we need a car. Or Ra, we need a party. Or Ra, you know what I mean? So if that's what I want to happen, I have to start acting like that to create the reaction. Now, one of the reactions that come to me was a company from Europe. It was an e-moped electric scooter business where they wanted to launch in Brisbane with the same as Lime Scooter, but rediscover your city on mopeds. Walk up to with an app, and I was like, yeah, this is dope. So in my head, I wanted something like that to happen so I can help these people get off the ground and hopefully create another opportunity for myself. So I could effortlessly get these people into the right rooms, doing the right things, because they're just two Spanish guys, and I love them a lot. Alex and Danny, what's up, my boys? They gave me the opportunity to help them. And I told them, I was like, bro, I'll help you get you into anywhere, and all I want in return is the next donkey to come along and say, how did you do it? Tell them I done it. That's the currency. because I'm doing all these things anyway, and I can leverage my existing relations and friendships to get you off the ground. The thing is, COVID happened and it didn't happen, right?
Yeah.
So the first thing we done was chill for a bit, and we're just always thinking ahead. So what we ended up doing, I'll cut to the chase, is when the world shut down, we turned those mopeds into a conglomerate delivery service where the problem to restaurants was paying too much fees for Uber Eats. And, you know, that hit the manawa. And I rang my mum up one day and she goes, "Are you helping people?" And I'm like, "Oh, I can." So our point of difference was we had 60 electronic mopeds sitting there ready to use. We ended up turning that into a Colombian delivery service for all these restaurants. The currency was, when I sat down with these Colombian drivers, I said, "Why do you need money?" They said, "We need to buy food." So I said, "What if I cook you a barbecue?" We had this operation happening, bro.
Yeah.
And people were constantly coming up to us saying, "Why are you doing this? How are you making money?" And my very first whakaaro was, "We're not making money. No one's making money. Why should I make money?"
Yeah.
But what I knew I was making is impact and creating more opportunity and trust. And that's all I wanted, because going back to something from not having the opportunity and not having, you know, that sort of, yeah.
Wow.
So ended up delivering for a lot of restaurants in Brisbane, and had this system where people will come to our warehouse, they'll put on their black, they'll jump on their moped, and they'll do shifts doing deliveries for these restaurants.
Damn.
And I think, just like anything, we'll just trying to think about what that's going to turn into. I didn't know what it was, bro. Like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
whether it worked or it didn't, it was just doing something, just actioning on something to create a reaction, bro. So,
And I think, again, just having that baseline of understanding the circumstance, but also knowing that you're just creating an impact, but it was moving towards that common goal again. And, you know, you've said it a couple of times, bro, where you're on a journey towards what success looks like for you. You know, and what does that look like, bro? What is success to you, and what does that look like, whether it's a feeling, whether it's a state, whether it's the position that you're in? Like, what is success to you?
success to me, honestly, is a relief. You know, so everything that comes with relief means, like, obviously the bills are taken care of, the whānaus are right, and I could provide more opportunity to people like my younger self. That's that. And that's, like, how the hell are you supposed to create that for yourself, other than try to do as much as possible until something sticks to the wall? And that's when I talk about all my L's, bro. I've had 1,000 L's because I've tried 1,000 things, but I'm very blessed to have something that is going to take me there.
And talk about it, bro. What is this beautiful product that is just blessing our tepu at the moment, bro?
Like, I'm a big advocate on, I never want to talk about what I'm doing. I like to talk about what I've done.
And that's what it's all about as well.
Yeah.
That's just
And I was like
storytelling.
halfway in between, like, obviously my story.
Yeah.
But what the crazy thing is, bro, is, like, we are just at the start line of this, bro, you know. So I think the drive, the goal, whether it's for the restaurants, whether it's for the delivery service, whether it's for PT, it all had the same goal. I was just trying to create multiple ways to get there, and just to see, I just needed one way to get there. And a lot of people do ask me, you know, why are you doing so many things? It's because I had nothing. And a lot of people ask me why I talk about myself so much, and I say it's because that's all I have. I don't have any money, you know, I didn't have any opportunities, I didn't have anything really.
Yeah.
So all I could do was talk about myself to someone like me, you know, and that's just the truth.
But,
And I'm proud of that.
bro, I'm honestly fucking proud of you too, bro. You know, every single time, you know, we'd have a catch up and you're talking about all these things, and I'm just like, yeah, the bro's on. And that's just how, for me, it's how I've always known you anyway. You know, you've always had like 1,000 thoughts. You've always had all of these whakaaro, and you believe in them so much, bro.
Yeah,
You know, and it's like, incredible just to sort of like see you hold that steadfast throughout all these years. And if you didn't, bro, you wouldn't have had this moment in your life. You know what I mean? All of those crazy experiences, if you just settled with, you know, being a still fixer, if you just settled with how things were, you know, how unfortunate, you know what I mean? Because of all of the experiences that you've gone through. No one has a story like you.
Away from my brothers in the still fixing game.
Oh, hell no.
So my boys in the PT game or in the furniture removal game. But I think I just been trying to find my vehicle to get to that destination of relief and to create opportunity for rangatahi, rangorua, rangotoru, you, mum, dad, and someone that I don't even know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just coming back to it, bro. House of Movement, HOM. Work ethic and capabilities is never the downfall for our people, bro. What's the downfall? It's the lack of opportunity provided to express your passion. You know what I mean?
But it's not like, you know, I understand that as well, but it's also the, I feel there's opportunity. There's definitely not enough of it.
Not enough. I'm not
but
saying there isn't.
It's also how those opportunities are sort of provided. You know, like how the thing that comes to mind, and sorry to cut you off about that, but I was just sort of got these signals around the way that I look at this, bro, is that there was that opportunity where you danced and that was an opportunity, but you were met with that right energy where it was celebrated. Your passion was just extremely celebrated. And I think what's going on at the moment is that there's just a lack of celebration of other people's passions.
And that's 100%, bro. Yes, and thank you for that. So it's not trying to take away from what already exists. I'm just trying to amplify the opportunities to express more and to provide more opportunity for people to express.
Yeah, trying completely.
So coming back to it, people like even me talking about a bit about my story, like the iceberg, tip of the iceberg about what I am over the last half hour. I am far more than what people actually perceive. You are far more than what people actually perceive. You have more than one reason to move as a future father, as say an icon, but as a role model, as in kapahaka, as an athlete. With that comes a story.
Yeah.
Well, the story is never wrong. It's always true. And that's your story. Little do you know, or actually you do know, is you can impact an entire generation just by moving one person.
Yeah, 100%.
Know what I mean? And that's the goal. That's our mission statement, to impact an entire generation by moving one person.
Oh.
Now, there's a deeper whakaaro to that. It's not like the Martin Luther King corridors when you're in front of 1,000 people. It's about motivating someone to act like that same, to act the same every single day, to be confident every single day, to have continuous corridors day in, day out with another person.
Wow.
And how that trickles out, right? So coming back to it, that's kind of relatable, right? Everyone's got an uncle and auntie or cousin that could have made it.
100%.
Rugby, boxing,
singing,
whatever.
And
what do you think, like, if you put all of them in the same room and asked them why they probably didn't make it, they probably had the same answer. They didn't have the support, they didn't have the platform or the opportunity.
Or confidence.
Yeah, 100%. So that's the core purpose of home. And it might sound confusing at the moment, but I'll break it down.
And do you think it could be the reason why it's confusing is because when we look at home, people perceive it as a supplement?
Definitely, no.
Right? And supplements are categorized into one specific area. So when you're talking about a supplement that could aid someone's passion for dance, for singing, for creativity, for doing like podcasting, it's such a broader way to look at something that has been categorized as one thing.
And that's just let's open everyone's heads up, right? The word supplement means to replace a negative with a positive. That's what we mean by a supplement. So my personal goal that I come to the table with, bro, was because people, everyone's just doing stuff, right? So the goal is, if you associate with home, you are more than what people actually know you as, right? Sometimes an opportunity might pass you by because no one actually asked you. You know what I mean? There's no one ever come up to me and said, right, what are you the best in the world at? What do you think you're the best in the world at? Where can we, you know what I mean? People are like, here's a job interview. Try and get a fish to climb up a tree. You know what I mean? I was like, because there's no curiosity, no art of curiosity around other people all day, every day. No one's asking each other what they're really passionate about, and also what else they do. People only stereotype or pigeonhole people in what they think they do.
Yeah, right.
And of course, that's not going to gain any new opportunity.
And
but if you were to associate home with a person, right? Someone that doesn't like to talk, to then go to the shop and buy a home RTD. Someone was to kind of identify that person as wearing a home shirt or drinking a home RTD. The goal is to have a random person walk up to this man and ask him, what do you do, bro? You know what I mean? And what do you do? I'm a fisherman. Me too. Let's go fishing.
Wow.
Something as simple as that, bro. Because what that's going to do is create conversations and interest in other people.
Right.
When you're associated.
Wow, I love that, bro. Because it is that, because we're so focused on, a lot of people are focused on themselves, essentially. And I like how this is a representation of you and your team around, wanting to have more human interactions, having more interest in what other people do, and furthermore, trying to provide that sense of returned passion to encourage them on their journey, which is freaking incredible, brother.
Yeah, brother. And that's the thing. So because it started off, I didn't want to launch a supplement, right? Because we already had the perception on supplements. So what HOM actually is, it's not a supplement company. HOM is a platform to express your passion for movement.
Wow.
The supplements are just a product to associate your passion based on what you do and what you're already doing. I'm not trying to add anything to your day. I'm trying to provide you with an opportunity based on what you're already taking with a healthy alternative.
Wow.
So then when we do step into RTD cans, teas, coffees, microwaves, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. The whakaaro behind what you do associates with opportunity.
And this is only the start, right, brother?
Yeah.
Even though there's been like years and a whole lot of mahi that's been brought to this particular moment and towards the thing that's stuck on the wall, it's still the beginning.
Absolutely, bro. Like it's been crazy.
It's been crazy, bro.
There's so much clarity around what we're trying to do and what we want to do. Therefore, we kind of just have to keep going. A lot of it is whanaungatanga and a lot of meeting new people, really, and just listening to people. And
Beautiful, my bro. And every time you come back to Aotearoa, you leave with a taonga. And this time you've joined the Māori gang, but you've just created a bit beautiful art on there from our brother Te Haunui. And what's the significance behind this, bro?
So a lot of people call me Ra. Okay, so I'm 31 years of age now. And that name to me represents the fearless dude that kind of risked everything. He got me here, you know what I mean? So he had to exist for me to get here. But now whānau and friends call me Rawiri. So Rawiri's my real name, my ingoa tuturu. And this person is a bit more, I wouldn't say careful, but more, he's evaluates things a bit more and takes time to make decisions rather than fearlessly.
Wow.
Because my biggest thing is Ra took decisions based on not caring what he lost because he started with nothing. I could lose everything tomorrow. That was my mentality. I was like, I can just do it again. I'm a workhorse. I'm a machine. I'm the human algorithm. I'm this, I'm that. But I can't behave like that anymore. If I'm bringing people to a platform and also providing opportunity, I have to care more about consequences and being less naive about my decisions.
Wow.
And upon that, like I do want to represent culture in general, not just Māori, by sitting in rooms and present myself this way to everyone. And what that means, like I got told when I got my neck done, bro, that I probably wouldn't get a job. So I done the opposite. Know what I mean? I said I didn't want a job. But when I do achieve these things, I would like to achieve it. And I like to achieve these things on behalf of all culture and Māoritanga and people that have a disadvantage.
Right.
And going against the grain sometimes might be the only way. And living proof, brother, you know? So that's the whakaaro, my bro.
I like that, bro. I really like the transition or the metamorphosis into stepping back into, you know, Rawiri, and just the shift that has occurred within that process, bro. And it's really refreshing, brother. And like, I'm so happy for you to sort of now be in this next stage of your journey where you don't have to sort of walk around with that weight or walk around with that sense of having nothing to lose, because there's so much more now that's there. So it's freaking beautiful just to sort of like be witness to it all, my bro.
Thank you, my boy.
You know, before we do cut off, bro, you know, there were some, I wouldn't say unfortunate, but there were some circumstances that unfolded while you're living over in Brisbane at a particular time. And I just want to give it over you, bro, to talk about, you know, that particular situation.
Yeah, bro, like I'm not ashamed of that at all. I wanted to leave it till last because I wanted to leave a bit of a storyline and what I kind of put myself into, right? So digging the biggest hole. Like I think I dug myself the biggest hole when I was able to work through it. I was able to get through it because of my Māoritanga and my identity. What I mean by that is, bro, like during this whole process of me actually talking to you, what I was going through, bro, was I actually was on parole. Know what I mean? And that come from Ra being naive and making decisions around consequences that I didn't, you know, consequences happening and me taking it on the chin.
Right.
You know what I mean? And in saying that, just getting through the challenges every day, and I know I want to just put it out there that my Māoritanga and my identity did allow me to wake up every morning and understand that, yeah, I could do anything, bro. And
what space like you're talking about the space that you're in to be in parole, where you're naive, where you didn't care what happened, you know, and then you lean on Te Ao Māori, on your identity to sort of like push you through that. Did you have to go through that to remind you of that, bro? Or like, why didn't you lean on Te Ao Māori or your identity before making those kinds of decisions?
I think the Te Ao Māori was always there. It wasn't the reason why I got into trouble. Me being naive got me into trouble.
Right.
Not really taking the consequences seriously. Te Ao Māori reassured me that, you know, just more on the identity side of things, to be able to kind of give me gas to keep going even though things were heavy.
Right. And no one knew really the significance of what was really going on.
No.
Like I had no idea.
No.
You know, and I didn't know for ages, you know. So what was that like, bro, being isolated within the understanding of knowing what it is that you were facing? Like how close were you to going to jail?
Oh, like a court case away, I think.
Yeah.
Know what I mean? So, I don't know. Like, it was so new to me where I didn't even know what was happening.
Right.
I just went through the process. But because I accept things straight away just so I can start amending it and I start acting based on, you know, just the circumstances, it was just another barrier for me. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I didn't touch base on it before, but I was homeless before that. And I was sitting on the couch at a gym and I had no food and I was going through that. But I knew I could call anyone, bro, and them tell me I had a couch to stay on and I had to, you know, food, kai always there, but I always plan 10 steps ahead. So I was like, if I eat your kai, then that's a small fix. I need to fix this whole scenario, like the big picture.
Wow.
Yeah, and just being able to wake up and just touching base on that conversation I had of koro, just reliving those moments and just like understanding that only way is up. Probably hear it all the time, bro. and just being that confident. And I used to relive, like what I'm doing now, I used to talk about then.
Yeah.
And understand why it sounded crazy. I understand why, and I'm still going to sound crazy. I'm still going to sound like I'm thinking 10 steps ahead, and I am. I like to celebrate things early because I can feel it already. You know what I mean?
And is that why you're so, like, very, I guess, influenced or motivated or inspired by Kanye? Is he someone who just gives you that freedom to think freely or fast or dream big?
Like, I don't favour Kanye over anything. I just be posting him a lot because I'm digging his music.
Yeah.
But I literally get motivation from anyone actually trying.
Yeah, sure.
That's it. Like, I don't even have to know you. Like, and that's that. Like, it could be someone that hasn't even made it yet, but the fact that he's trying, it's just a vibe, bro.
That's beautiful, bro. And to the whānau who are listening, right, if you haven't connected the dots, we're speaking a lot, throughout that first part of the podcast, and then now there's the body as to why those situations of moving into a PT, of using different forms of currency, of finding passion, of leaning on identity, was because of, Ra digging himself that big hole. But now he's way out the other side. And that's got to add so much. There's so much substance within that, my bro. Like, it really is. And for you to sort of already be in the space of the mindset of, this is just the start, to another chapter in your journey as Rawiri. And for me as a close friend, bro, I'm like so proud of you, brother, right? And there's so much aroha that I have there for you in so many ways. You've helped me out in so many of my most darkest times. You've given me the book that changed my whole concept of mind, thoughts, feelings, and that connection when you gifted me the book, The Secret. And so before we do wrap it up, my bro, I'm going to give it over to you to share some whakaaro to those who may be still listening, whether it's some words of wisdom, whether it's something that's on your heart, whether it's just some closing whakaaro that you would like to just leave us with.
Something very simple, and it just goes back to believing in yourself, bro. Like, it's just if you ask the right questions, you'll get the right answers. Be curious, believe in yourself. And this is more on a personal note. If you want to quote it, or just holler. Know what I mean? It's like everybody has their own problems and their own whakaaro. I'm never going to tell you what to do, but I'll just try and remind you how good you are. That's all I'm going to do. If that takes a minute, if that takes an hour, but just reach out. And it's bigger than myself, bro. You know what I mean? The end journey, it's bigger than myself. So we're going to keep going till the wheels fall off, my man.
Bro, until that wheel is actually on the bus.
Yeah, we're still going, bro.
And that bus is full, bro, with tamariki and everything. But thank you, my bro. Thank you so much for coming on. And you're someone who has been waiting to share a big part of your journey. And I'm so grateful that you've decided to use this podcast, Planting Seeds, and our connection to be able to express your story.
At least start the conversation, because it's like, as you said, tip of the iceberg, but tēnā koe, my bro.
Tēnā koe, my brother. And to the whānau, please reach out to the bro, Rawiri. You'll see his tag in the description. Let him know if there was a part in here that resonated with you, whether you've been going through challenging times, whether there's 1,000 hours that you've been going through, or there's some ideas. Please flick him through a message. Show him that appreciation. Follow the journey on HOM Energy on Instagram, and get yourself some of this product. I'm telling you, it is on. So, e te whānau, my brother, thank you so much, my man. Ngā mihi nui, me ori kia koutou katoa.